Well, son, since you haven't learned to respect your elders, it's time you learn to respect your betters.
Nicknamed the Duke, Wayne had a stellar career in Tinsel Town, credited in more than 180 films and television productions. However, besides movies, what do you know about the life of this multi-talented cowboy? From the early days to the peak of his fame and later controversies, there have always been untold truths about John Wayne. In this video, I will explore with you all the amazing truths about this man. Don't leave the screen. The most interesting information about Duke Wayne will be revealed soon. John Wayne's birth name is Marion Robert Morrison. Born on May 26, 1907, in Winterset, Iowa. His family moved to Los Angeles when he was 4 years old. Wayne's family moved to Palmdale, California, and then Glendale at 404 Isabel Street in 1916, where his father worked as a pharmacist. He attended Glendale Union High School and was gifted both athletically and academically. Wayne is part of the school's rugby team. He was also president of the Latin Society and contributed to the school's sports newspaper. A firefighter on duty at the station on Wayne Road to school in Glendale began calling him Little Duke, because he was always accompanied by his Airedale Terrier named Duke. He preferred the nickname Duke to Marion, so he chose to keep that nickname. Wayne attended Wilson High School in Glendale. As a teenager, he worked at an ice cream shop for a horseshoe at Hollywood Film Studios. He is also an active member of the Order of Demolay. He played football for Glendale High School's football team, the 1924 championship team. Wayne applied to the United States Naval Academy but was not accepted, so he chose to attend the University of Southern California, USC, majoring in pre-law. He is a member of two student fraternities, Trojan Knights and Sigma Chi. Wayne also played for the USC football team under Coach Howard Jones. A collarbone injury ended his athletic career. Wayne later recalled that he was too scared by Jones' reaction to reveal that the real cause behind his injury was a surfing accident. As a result, he lost his sports scholarship and had no money, so he was forced to leave the university. Due to favoring Jones because he gave tickets to see USC play to silent Western film star Tom Mix, director John Ford and Mix hired Wayne as stage manager and extra. Later, Wayne credited the way he walked, talked, and became a person thanks to knowing Wyatt Earp, a good friend of Tom Mix. Wayne soon moved on to interacting directly with the main actors and established a long-standing friendship with director John Ford, the man who brought him that role. During this early period, he had a small, uncredited role as a security guard in the 1926 film Bardley's the Magnificent. Wayne also appeared with his USC football teammates in the films Brown of Harvard, The Dropkick and Salute, and Columbia's Maker of Men. While performing small roles for Fox Film Corporation, Wayne was credited on screen as Duke Morrison only once in the film Words and Music. Director Roe Walsh saw him carrying furniture in the studio and gave him his first major role in the film The Big Trail. This time, when it came to his on-screen stage name, Walsh suggested to the actor the name Anthony Wayne, named after Revolutionary War General Mad Anthony Wayne. Fox Studios director Winfield Sheehan rejected the name because it sounded too Italian. Walsh then suggested the name John Wayne. Sheehan nodded, and from there the name was chosen. Wayne wasn't even present during the discussion. His compensation is thus $105 a week. The Big Trail was the first big-budget movie to be filmed outdoors in the sound film era, produced with a huge budget at that time of more than $2 million, using hundreds of actors. The masses and vast landscape of the American Southwest, which at the time was still sparsely inhabited. To take advantage of the majestic scenery, the film was shot in two versions, a 35mm version and a new 70mm version, using a single camera and lens initiative. Many moviegoers watching the grandeur version stood up and cheered in approval. However, only a small number of theaters are equipped with facilities to show movies on big screens, and the efforts of filmmakers are in vain. At that time, the film was a huge failure at the box office, but was later praised by modern critics. After The Big Trail was a commercial failure, Wayne was relegated to small roles in A-list films, such as a corpse in Columbia's The Deceiver. He participated in the long-term film project The Three Musketeers, an adaptation of the novel by Alexandre Dumas, revolving around the main characters who were soldiers in the French Legion in the North African War at that time. He starred and had title credits in many low-budget westerns for B-movie studio Poverty Row, primarily at Monogram Pictures, and in serials at Mascot Pictures Corporation. According to Wayne's personal estimate, he acted in about 80 horse plays between 1930 and 1939. In Riders of Destiny, he became one of the first singing cowboys in motion pictures, even if only in a cage. Language. Wayne also appeared in the Western film Three Musketeers, whose title is a play on Dumas's novel. He was taught by stuntmen how to marry horses and other skills of the Western film genre. Stuntmen Yakima Canutt and Wayne developed punching and stunt techniques on screen that are still useful today. One of Wayne's main innovations was in the early Poverty Row westerns, which allowed good guys to fight convincingly like bad guys, rather than always fighting pretty. Wayne affirmed, before I got involved in Western films, there was a standard that the hero must always fight well. Villains are allowed to hit the hero with a chair, throw a flashlight at him, or kick him in the stomach. But the hero is only allowed to beat the villain politely and then wait until he gets up. I changed all that. I threw the chair and the lamp win. Wayne's second breakthrough role was in John Ford's film Stagecoach. Because Wayne was only a B-movie actor and the poor sales of low-budget westerns in the 1930s, Ford had difficulty finding funding to make budget films. Rejected by all the major studios, Ford agreed to a deal with independent film producer Walter Wanger that put Claire Trevor, a major movie star at the time, at the top of the cast list. Stagecoach has achieved great success in both revenue and expertise, turning Wayne into a popular star. Co-star Louise Platt credited Ford with saying that Wayne would become the biggest star ever because of his appeal as a popular role model. He lost the lead role of Jimmy Ringo in the film The Gunfighter to Gregory Peck because he refused to work for Columbia Pictures because the studio's director, Harry Cohn, had treated him poorly many years before when he was a young actor. Cohn paid for the project for Wayne, but Wayne's feud was so deep that Cohn had to sell the script to 20th Century Fox, and Peck was given the role that Wayne, although he really wanted, refused to work for him. Cohn. Wayne's co-founded the film production company Batjack in 2015, named after the fictional transport company Batjack in the film Wake of the Red Witch. But Jack and its predecessor, Wayne Fellows Productions, is the arm that helps Wayne produce many films for himself and other stars. The most famous works not starring Wayne are 7 Men from Now, the beginning of a classic collaboration between director Bud Boticher and star Randolph Scott, and Gun the Man Down with contract actor James Arness as a villain. Out of Law. One of Wayne's most famous roles was in the film The High and the Mighty, directed by William Wellman, based on the novel by Ernest K. Gann. His role as a heroic second pilot was widely praised by the audience. Wayne also acted as a pilot in the films Flying Tigers, Flying Leathernecks Island in the Sky, The Wings of Eagles, and Jet Pilot. He appeared in nearly 24 John Ford films over 20 years, such as She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, The Quiet Man, and The Wings of Eagles. The first film in which Wayne called someone else Pilgrim Ford's The Searchers is often considered to have Wayne's best and most complex performance. In 1960, Wayne directed and produced the film The Alamo. He was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture as a producer. That year, Wayne also acted in Henry Hathaway's film North to Alaska. In 1961, Wayne played a role in Michael Curtiz's The Comancheros. On May 23, 1962, Wayne appeared in John Ford's The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance with James Stewart. On May 29th, the movie Hatari, by Howard Hawks, starring Wayne, was released. On October 4th, the film The Longest Day opened in theaters, with Wayne joining the main cast. On February 20th, 1963, Wayne acted in one of the small scenes in the film How the West Was Won. On June 12th, Wayne starred in his last film with John Ford, Donovan's Reef. On November 13th, another work featuring Wayne McClintock, by Andrew V. McLaglen, premiered. In 1964, Wayne played in Henry Hathaway's Circus World. In 1968, Wayne co-directed with Ray Kellogg the film The Green Berets. This is the only major film project produced during the Vietnam War to support the war. Wayne wanted to make this film because at that time Hollywood had little interest in making films about the Vietnam War. During the filming of The Green Beret, Zarang, Delaware, or Montagnard people of Vietnam's Central Highlands, who fought fiercely against communism, gave Wayne a bronze bracelet, which he wore in the film, and socks. All future films. That same year, Wayne starred in Andrew V. McLaglen's film Hellfighters. On June 13, 1969, Henry Hathaway's True Grit premiered. For his role in the film, Wayne won the Best Actor award at the Oscars. That November, another film in which Wayne starred was released, Andrew V. McLaglen's The Undefeated. Wayne was nominated for an Oscar 3 times as an actor and producer, and won in 1969 for True Grit. He died of stomach cancer. In June 1999, the American Film Institute ranked Wayne 13th among the greatest male actors of all time. Despite his success as Duke John Wayne, Wayne always preferred his childhood name, Duke Morrison, to his eventual stage name. He once said, "I am Duke Morrison. I have never been and never will be a movie character like John Wayne." Do you know where the name John Wayne comes from? It's a lot simpler than you think. The head of Fox Studios was a big fan of the Revolutionary War, so when it came time to rebrand Marion Duke Morrison as someone who belonged in front of the camera, they chose the last name Wayne. After Revolutionary War General Anthony Wayne, and the name John simply because of its syllabic symmetry with Wayne. Wayne grew up in a Presbyterian Protestant family of Scottish and Irish descent, a family environment where he realized the importance of going to church, reading the Bible, and having faith. Yet he quickly abandoned religion and all religious practices, choosing ways of life that led him away from the teachings he had received. He married 3 times, drank heavily, and was known to have many lovers, including Marlene Dietrich and Maureen O'Hara. His own son Patrick also had to declare that he was not religious at all. "My father does not follow any religion and is not a Catholic." But God kept knocking on the door of his soul. His first meaningful contact with the Catholic faith in adulthood was when he married his first wife, Josephine Alicia Syans, who involved him in many parish events and prayed a lot for his return, even after their marriage failed. All of his wives are Catholics, his 7 children attend Catholic schools, and his 21 grandchildren are also raised in the Catholic faith. On the other hand, his friendship with John Ford, another movie star who made no secret of his deep faith influenced his life. Father Matthew Munoz, a Catholic priest in the Diocese of Orange, California, USA, one of Mr. Wayne's grandchildren, gave some details about his grandfather's spiritual life. Matthew Munoz was just 14 years old when John Wayne died of cancer. He explained to Catholic news agency that when his grandfather was ready to be baptized, Archbishop Manos Gregorio McGrath of Panama and a friend of John Wayne visited him. My mother and an uncle were there when the Archbishop arrived. There was no doubt that my grandfather was baptized. He had expected to be baptized and so was publicly baptized. It's wonderful to see him come to faith and have his whole family testify. For most of his life, Wayne was a prominent conservative Republican in Hollywood, espousing anti-communist views. However, he voted for Democratic President Franklin D. Roosevelt in the 1936 presidential election and expressed admiration for Roosevelt's successor, Democratic President Harry S. Truman. He helped found the Motion Picture Alliance for the Preservation of American Ideals in February 1944 and was elected its president in 1949. He was an ardent anti-communist and pro-speaker. House Committee on Anti-American Actions HUAC. He created the movie Big Jim McClain himself as a HUAC inspector to show support for the anti-communist cause. His personal stance was to proactively enforce the blacklist policy, denying employment, and destroying the careers of many actors and writers who had expressed their personal political beliefs during their lives. Soviet leader Iosif Vissarionovich Stalin reportedly said that Wayne should be assassinated for frequently espousing anti-communism, even though he was a fan of Wayne's films. Wayne was also a supporter of Senator Joseph McCarthy. Wayne supported Vice President Richard Nixon in the 1960 presidential election, but showed his patriotism when John F. Kennedy was elected. I didn't vote for him, but he was my president, and I hope he does well. He used his movie star power to support conservative causes, including rallying support for the Vietnam War by producing, co-directing, and starring in the critically successful film The Green Berets Revenue. In 1960, he joined the anti-communist John Birch Society but left after the organization accused the water fluoridation incident of being a communist plot. Given his status as the most famous Republican star in Hollywood, wealthy Texas Republican supporters invited Wayne to run for national office in 1968, as did his friend and colleague Senator Congressman George Murphy. He refused and joked that he did not believe the public would consider choosing an actor to be in the White House. Instead, he supported the campaigns of his friend Ronald Reagan for governor of California in 1966 and 1970. He was invited to be the Democratic Party's running mate with Alabama Governor George Wallace in 1968, but immediately refused the invitation and actively campaigned for Richard Nixon. Wayne was the speaker at the 1968 Republican National Convention on opening day. In addition to his career, Wayne's love life also has many ups and downs. Wayne was married 3 times and divorced twice. One of his 3 wives is a Spanish-American named Josephine Alicia Sáenz. The other 2 are from Latin America, Esperanza Barr and Pilar Palit. He has 4 children with Josephine and 3 children with Pilar. Pilar is an avid tennis player. In 1973, she encouraged her husband to build the John Wayne Tennis Club in Newport Beach, California. In 1995, the club was sold to Ken Stewart, former general manager, and became the Palisades Tennis Club. Many of Wayne's children have entered the film and television industry. Son Ethan was credited as John Ethan Wayne in several films and played one of the main roles in the 1990s update of the television series Adam 12. He had the loudest divorce with former Mexican actress Esperanza Barr. She believed that Wayne and co-star Gail Russell were having an affair, but both Wayne and Russell denied the allegations. The night Angel and the bad man wrapped, there was usually a party for the cast and crew, so Wayne got home very late. When he arrived home, Esperanza was drunk and tried to shoot him as he walked through the front door. Wayne had many prominent sexual relationships, including a relationship with Merle Oberon that lasted from 1938 to 1947. After breaking up with Pilar in 1973, Wayne had an affair and lived with his former secretary Pat Stacey. Until his death in 1979, she published a book about her life with him in 1983, titled Duke, A Love Story. Michael Munn recorded Wayne's drinking habits. According to Sam O, a teen's memoir cut to the chase, studio executives knew to shoot Wayne's scenes before noon because by noon he was a mean drunk. He was addicted to smoking since he was a teenager and was diagnosed with lung cancer in 1964. He successfully underwent surgery to remove his entire left lung and 4 ribs, despite his business partners trying to prevent him from making his illness public out of fear that he would lose his job. Wayne announced that he had cancer and urged the public to get a checkup as a precaution. 5 years later, Wayne was declared cured of cancer. Wayne is credited with coining the term the Big C as a camp expression for cancer. Even though he was enrolled in a cancer vaccine study to fight the disease, Wayne still died of stomach cancer on June 11, 1979 at UCLA Medical Center. He is buried at Pacific View Memorial Park Cemetery in Corona del Mar, Newport Beach. According to his son Patrick and grandson Matthew Munoz, a priest in the Diocese of Orange in California, Wayne converted to Catholicism shortly before his death. He proposed inscribing his tombstone with the words Fio, Forte you formal, a Spanish epitaph that Wayne described as meaning ugly, strong, and dignified. After remaining unmarked for nearly 20 years, his grave has been marked since 1999 with the quote, "Many public places have been named after Wayne in his honor, such as John Wayne Airport, John Wayne Landing, John Wayne Elementary School in Brooklyn, New York, and a street more than 100 miles 160 km long, called the John Wayne Pioneer Trail in Washington's Iron Horse State Park, and many other locations in cities." In 2006, friends of Wayne and Louis Johnson organized the Louis and the Duke Classics event to raise funds for the John Wayne Cancer Foundation and the American Cancer Society. The event lasts a weekend each fall in Casa Grande, Arizona, and includes a golf tournament, an auction of John Wayne memorabilia, and a team roping tournament. Wayne has gone beyond the usual recognition of a famous actor to the level of an enduring icon, an image that conveys American values and ideals. He helped solidify the Western genre as a glamorous Hollywood genre. As a box office leader for 3 decades, Wayne also helped envision both the cowboy and the movie star as part of the American imagination, although it was later realized that some of his scores left quite a bit to be desired. Regardless, it's hard to deny that John Wayne is a greater figure than any Hollywood has ever seen. How do you feel about the life and surprising secrets of American cowboy John Wayne? Please leave a comment below this video to let us know your feelings. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more interesting information.